my style of backcountry, and you're looking at a strap and you're like, what the hell is that there for? And it seems like your blog and some of these things help explain that stuff. There's not unnecessary things hanging off your pack.
Yeah, it is there's a quote that I always bounce back to, and it's like, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Mm-hmm. And that's how we look at it, is how can I design something that can do a lot of functions in a very simple package. It's very easy to overcomplicate things, trying to achieve, you've got a strap there on the pack that just does one single purpose. And it's just like, okay, is that worth the compromise of the customer looking at the strap and having no clue what it does? So yeah, it's something we're always weighing and going back and forth on,
Yeah. You guys do some fun things outside of just the backpack. Kyle wanted to ask you about something. What was that you were talking about?
Oh, you guys, I think COVID canceled this year's death hike, didn't it?
Yes. Yeah. But we've rescheduled it for July. Yeah.
Did you guys reschedule? What's somebody got to do to get invitation or to do the death hike with you guys? Because that seems like right up Jim's alley.
Careful what you ask for.
Yeah, he's sucker punching me. I'm a competitive Spartan racer, so he's always trying to challenge me.
Nice. Yeah. So, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what is a death hike?
Yeah. So it kind of started from. It started from Lenny and I used to competitively mountain bike race, and we would do multiple races a year, cross country races, and I absolutely just loved them from a planning, prepping, training perspective leading up to the race. The race itself was always, we joked. I mean, like literally every race I've ever done, in the middle of it, I'm like, why the F am I doing this? I'll never do, like my first race, I was like, I will never do this again. This is stupid. And then it wasn't 30 seconds after crossing the finish line that I was like, when's the next race? Mm-hmm. There's just something, and I'm sure you guys can relate to the Spartan races. There's something about pushing your body to its physical limits, and going as hard as you can go. Just something so reviving to the spirit and the soul, and just makes you stronger, makes you mentally tougher. So basically took that concept, and year one of the death hike, I think we've done 5 years in a row now, was we had no idea how far we could hike. Mm-hmm. So I think we just came up with the idea of like, let's see if we could hike 40 miles in 24 hours, through mountainous terrain and up and over stuff. And then the first one, every year there's been a variation of the hike. It's gone from 40 miles to 100 miles, different time frames, constraints. Last year we did a different variation. It was actually kind of a turned into a bear hunt as well, but I had physical challenges for the guys. I made them jump in, ice cold water for 60 seconds at 4 a.m. Made them just do physical things, just kind of beat them up and make it harder. So it's fun. Everyone that does it loves it. They have a blast. We've had to keep it somewhat a small event, just for kind of liability reasons. It hasn't been something that just, we have a sign up sheet. Yeah. It's always free. It's basically just within our circle of friends. And then, every year, I think, this year prior to canceling it, we were doing a snowshoe version of it. So it was supposed to be about 40 miles in 2 days, but basically all of that on snowshoes going up over some, 9,000 foot peaks. And it was supposed to be in March, where we're on snow the whole time. So, it hasn't been something that we've been able to open up to the general public. I wish I could. There's too much like permitting issues and things like that to use national forest land. If a Spartan race, they could just, find some chunk of private property to do this on. We need 40, 50, 100 miles of national forest and wilderness and stuff to work with. And it's just not something where there's constraints on group size and things like that they allow you to do. So,
well, I presume at this point you've had no deaths on the hike.
No deaths. No deaths. We've been fortunate. It has been. We had we had one year we flew into the Frank Church Wilderness here in central Idaho, which is the largest wilderness outside of Alaska. Flew right into the middle of it and had I think it was like 13 of us, and you basically had to hike out. There was no road to go to. We were all in this together, and we got to get back out to the truck, which was dropped off, and it's like 45 miles, but that was the roughest one for sure. We had specific, I have very vivid memories of DeLorme inReach in my hand, and one of the guys was extremely sick, and we weren't sure what was going to go on, and I'm looking at the SOS button on that thing, like my thumb is going back and forth, like, do I push this? Do I not?
Yeah.
And that one was close. He ended up bouncing back and recovering and got out of there. But, that's probably the closest we've ever been. Other than that, we've had guys, lots of guys lose toenails and some minor injuries and stuff like that, but we've been fortunate. So, and that's part of, another reason why I haven't just opened it up, because everybody that's joining is somewhat vetted. Yeah. I know the shape, that they're up for the task.
Yeah. Well, and one thing, I love that's what you're doing, whether it's for your own personal small group or other, as people, it's neat to have things to call back on in life, in your memory. So my most recent, I did the Spartan Ultra race in Iceland. It was a 24-hour race, and I did 43 miles up there. And what's great about those types of experiences is when you're in the middle of doing something hard, you can always refer back and go, well, this is hard, but it wasn't 43 miles in Iceland over 24 hours or on your death hike. And I think that it's neat to encourage people to get out of their comfort zones and try something really hard to see what they're capable of doing.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's why we do the hike, is for my own personal through my own personal experience of doing those mountain bike races and then doing these hikes. And now I'm just kind of passionate about getting any of my friends I can to do this, because every single time they do it, everyone comes out of that stronger. And the next time you're faced with something challenging in life, it's just like, I got this.
Well, look, guys, I really appreciate your time and energies and your product. The big Made in USA on the front of your website, I appreciate that. Any last thoughts about your product? I know, we talked about the quality, so hopefully there won't be sticker shock when people jump in to buy one of these backpacks. But I think you've covered as to why it carries the price that it does, and I'm sure that that's a very fair price for the materials you use and the lifetime warranty and all those other things. Any last thoughts on your product or what you can tell our audience?
Mark's our marketing guy. Go ahead.
Go, Mark.
No pressure. No, I mean, it's, as we said, it's a specialized product for a specialized market. It's one of those solutions to a problem that, there's most people on the face of the earth don't have the problem of needing a pack that's capable of doing what our packs are built for. But when guys get into hunting, when they get into backcountry hunting, when they fill that elk tag and they're 5 miles from the truck and now they have to get an elk back to the truck, those are the guys that end up looking us up and using our stuff, and that's what we're there to support. So as we've said, man, we're happy to help and answer questions, and that's as simple as giving us a call, sending us an email, anything like that. Just be happy to help.
Steve, one last question for you, just to bring this show back home. The notion of the show is to encourage people to start businesses or do what they're passionate about. Clearly, that's what you're doing. Any advice for that entrepreneur that's got a good idea that wants to start his business and go down a road similar to your road, maybe that's making, well, we always call them widgets. So any advice to that person?
My advice, I always refer to it as stepping off the cliff. Pushing yourself off the edge of it. A lot of guys have an idea. My brother has this amazing idea for a fishing product, and he's had it for 15 years, and he's never done anything about it, and it drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. But I look at it, he's standing at the edge of that cliff. There's this giant, it's dark down below him. He has no idea what's down there. He's afraid of it. And I think, to me, when I just come to these decisions and I just kind of take that blind leap of faith. I have trust in myself. I know my work ethic. I know I will do whatever it takes and put in as many hours as it takes to be successful. The humans are resilient, strong beings. You're going to jump off that cliff and you're going to land on your feet. And I look at it as one way or the other, successful or not, you're going to learn from it. There's, definitely been things I've done that I don't think were major successes, but I've learned from it, applied those lessons to other things in my life. So if you've got an idea, if there's something you've always wanted to do, it doesn't have to be a company. It could be a physical challenge. It could be, you want to get into Spartan races. You just kind of got to blindly jump off the edge of that and trust and know that you're going to land on your feet and come out the other end of it stronger. So, it's just, my advice is just go try it. And if you fail, you're going to learn from it. And then, obviously you have to be calculated and smart. I would, if someone wanted to start a coffee shop or something like that, I think you need to understand that the risks going into that is probably very, very low margins and a very high failure rate of a business like that. But I think if you have an original idea and you've thought through it well, then that's time just to go and give it a shot and see what happens.
I had a conversation with my co-host on my other show, Justin Farrington, yesterday about, people get so wrapped up in it has to be the next best idea to create a business out of it. But, if I go to REI or any of these big box stores, they have aisles and aisles of backpacks. And yet you found a niche within that environment to create something special for people. I brought up Danny earlier who makes a flannel shirt, Dixon Flannels. There's millions of flannels out there, but yet he's making millions of dollars only 7 years in. I interviewed my buddy Mark, who invented Bull Grills for outdoor barbecues, making millions doing barbecues. And I think, to your point, if you can be passionate about something, have a well thought out plan, and jump off that ledge into that dark zone, and if you're passionate about it, you can come out with a great idea and a great business and an opportunity doing something you love. And I really appreciate that that's what you guys are doing over there. Mark, you're doing a wonderful job on the marketing side. I've got a background in marketing. I love how everything's laid out and what your passions are for the company. So, guys, where can we find your gear at? You give a shout out to your website there, Mark, or any of the marketing pushes you got going on right now.
Yeah, so the website's just exomountaingear.com. We do a podcast as well. It's just called the Hunt Backcountry Podcast. So even if you're not in the market for a pack, but you want to learn more about hunting or backcountry hunting specifically, it's a great resource for that. And then it's also at Hunt Backcountry on Instagram. We do a lot with our community there. Not really talking about product, but kind of just, again, talking about the lifestyle and backcountry hunting there as well. So some good resources to check out. And then, as I said, you can just give us a call directly, shoot us an email, and we'll chat.
This is Kyle here. I just definitely want to give you guys a big shout out and thank you for coming on this podcast, because, you definitely have changed my perception on a hunting pack, and I'm going to do all it takes to get my hands on one of your guys' packs this year and hopefully pack out a bunch of meat. So just keep doing what you're doing, and it's people like me that you're inspiring to start backcountry hunting and use your products. So I appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Well, we'll leave it at that. All my surfing friends are going, oh, great, Jim lives in Montana now. He's going to become this hunter. So, guys, thank you for your time. Best of luck in your business, surviving COVID and all those other things, and cheers to the next big hunt. Thank you for listening to today's show. It is my pleasure and honor to interview all of the guests that have been on the Answer is Yes podcast. If you have enjoyed the show, please go on iTunes and subscribe, give a rating, or simply tell a friend about the show. We also believe in the message of our guests and the positive influence of their stories. As my own mentor and coach, David Meltzer, has taught me, spend some time every day thinking and writing about the things in your own life that you have more than enough of. You will find out how blessed we really are. Please visit my website, livelifedriven.com, for the latest updates about me and what I'm doing. Plus, I post a monthly blog about the many topics on this show. This podcast can also be found there. As I learned early on in life, what you believe is what you will achieve. Thanks, Mark Victor Hansen, and thank you, and have a great week.